Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay.
Evening, or nice afternoon. Because there's a lot of you, so I'm not going to waste any time. Wants to go first?
Yes, sir.
Coach, you must be punching yourself right now.
I would like to punch a few other people, but yeah, I'm punching myself.
You're not showing, better play, but what needs to happen?
It's always a difficult thing when you're in this situation. Nothing goes for you. I don't think necessarily that was a penalty. That obviously was a turning point in this game. As far as the effort and commitment, our players tried as much as they could. Second half, obviously, we brought in subs, try and change the game. That didn't work. So I think we've got to look internally as to what is happening at this moment in time and how to change the situation. What we have currently is what we have to utilize. There's nobody else that we can bring in. We've got to make the best of what we have in this situation. And you know, as players, as coaches, the technical team, it's not something we want to be associated with as far as the 0 and 7. It's not something that's been done before. So we obviously have to look how to change the situation. And there's not much time left because there's a game again on Wednesday that we need to prepare for.
When does your work start to kick in?
Well, it should have started after the first game. You know, nobody likes losing games. You don't prepare or train to go and lose games. Everybody's trying their utmost best. We're doing extra training. We're working as hard as we could on different aspects, whether it be finishing or defending. It's just when you're in this position, the confidence takes a massive knock. And we could see that from our players, especially when they equalized. In the second game in a row now where we scored first and we couldn't hold on to at least keep a point or go for the victory. So those are the things that we have to assess and see how we can change it as quickly as possible. Games are getting less.
Shaun, very from people. Just how tough was this defeat today? Then also, in your opinion, what's the difference between the two sides at this current moment? And do you personally feel a bit that your hands are tied behind your back with regards to the players available to quality in your squad?
Yeah, I think firstly, biggest difference is they have more experienced players at PSL level. We've got a fairly young squad. If you look at the total amount, I think we've got about 16 players under 23 in our squad. As far as tied up my hands, everybody knows that it's not, you know, the nature of the club to just go in the market and get whoever's available. You know, we don't have the budget of certain other clubs where we can go and do that. So I think it's one of those things where we have to accommodate, but for how long? Because end of the day, it will be my head that will be rolling because of the results not coming. And on this day, I don't think there was different in quality, to be honest. It's just the experience from the City players at PSL level. That's the massive difference. And how to close out games in that particular way.
Sunday.
Coach, with respect, of course, but do you think you've done enough, you know, from where you sit and as the guy who gets blamed and questioned? You think you've done enough?
In which aspect?
Just to turn the misfortunes around. You know, I mean, you look at the log table.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to understand what is happening or what have you done, what have you not done in the same vein as well.
Yeah, it's like you're asking a chef to put on a great dish, but you don't give him the ingredients. It's difficult, my friend. That's the major concern at this moment in time. I'm trying my utmost best with the technical team, with the other coaches to change the fortunes around because it's not the position we want to be in. For 5 years, we've been fighting to be in the DSTV Premiership, and we wanted to make sure that we started on a better note, and at this moment in time, it's not. So we've got, as a club, got to look what is the problem at this moment in time. It's easy to say me. I'll take the responsibility. It's not an issue. That's why I chose this job. Nobody gave the job to me. I chose it. And it's a thankless job because next week when we win the game, all the players will get praise and I'll be pushed aside. So I think end of the day, that's what I chose to do, to be coach of this club. When I came in, it was first to save them from relegation and then to get promotion. That's fine. But now it's not going as we planned. So I think collectively the decision needs to be made as to how we're going to turn it around and what needs to be done.
Just coach today, you started very well, positively the first half.
Yeah.
Second half, you see the wheels stuff came off. And you spoke about closing of games. Why do you think you guys can't close the games?
It's not just the second half. I think the last 20 minutes of the first half, for some reason we sat back and allowed them back in the game, and that's why they obviously could play under pressure and play more diagonal balls, get into our box and, you know, force issues, and that's why the penalty came. So it's a tendency where I think we we're not clinical enough, we're not ruthless enough when it gets to the final third, because the final, obviously the goal that we scored was good, the movement, but that's when everybody's fresh, the energy, the desire, and then suddenly you encounter a few issues and we can't find solutions. So I think second half for me, we tried to change it as far as the approach was concerned, but end of the day it wasn't good enough because they got the second and third goal.
Coach, I'm so sorry. Hard luck, coach. Yes, yeah. I know how you're feeling as you're sitting around the coach.
Yeah.
This is your bread. However, coach, now you're mentioning that there is something that you got to look at internally.
Yeah.
So just two questions. Are you pressing the panic button right now? And then the second one, what do you think should be done? I saw one of the teams, I won't mention the name, where they brought in a psychologist. Because I'm looking at the body language after the game.
Yep.
And even the 70th minutes, when the boys were not charging, but every time the opponent had the ball, they were moving backwards. You could see that the confidence is gone.
Yeah.
So what is it that you think, in details, that should be done in the team?
Well, that's maybe one of the things that, one of the factors that obviously needs to be approached. And sometimes as a football club, we don't look at the holistic way of changing things. You know, it's training, playing, winning. You know, there's a lot of things that I cannot say in public. I cannot. Because there's a few things that's obviously around the squad that's not going the way it's supposed to be, or people that's not available, but it's things that obviously that needs to be sorted internally. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose all the information as to what's happening because there's got to be some form of obviously non-disclosure as well and sort it out yourself. But like you've indicated, psychologists, whatever, extra training, technical director, if you want to call it that way, whatever's needed. There's a lot of things that obviously, as far as support is concerned, maybe not coming at the right time.
If you're not disclosing, coach, then we start blaming you.
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes integrity is also a big part, and we tend to lose that when you're in a tough situation. Because I can easily pass the buck to somebody else and blame somebody else, but that's why I'm sitting here. Yes.
Coach, was there a criteria satisfied when signing the goalkeeper? Like, are you confident in what he adds to the team and what he brings it?
Well, there's a lot of positions I could question on the field at this moment in time. And obviously, when you look firstly within your province and you don't find anything, then you look nationally, you don't find anything. I'll ask you one question: which keeper should be signed? Because one particular club has all the keepers in this country. So where are we going to find a keeper that's going to be suitable and that's going to come in the situation that we currently have? You know, he impressed when he was on trial. He was, you know, commanding, was vocal. He's got good stature. He's got experience. I can bring any player into the situation. It's not going to, you know, automatically change. You know, because it's one player that will try their utmost best, but everybody else needs to also influence.
Where's Lincoln, coach? Sorry.
I beg it?
Lincoln Pfeiffer.
Unfortunately, he's got a medical issue that needs to be sorted.
Thank you.
That's all I can say.
Sir?
Thank you. Coach, I've heard from the statement, you mentioned of the situation, which I will sense that the situation is the first one. If the situation carry on like this now, is Shaun Bartlett willing to continue with the team?
I'm not somebody to just throw in the towel. I think in my whole life I've always persevered. I've always had my back against the wall. That guy with the blue shirt knows me. You know, he's been there around my whole career. Nobody gave me a chance. So I'm always going to try my utmost best. That is my character. Where I come from, that is what taught me to be in this position. I've got a very thick skin, I've got broad shoulders. That's why I'm carrying this team. And I will continue carrying the team until the decision is made. So, but that's something for another day. Yes, Josh.
Yeah.
Coach, you think you're getting the support from the club that you need? It sounds like you're not.
What is support?
Like you guys are not connected.
What is support? What support are you
The
talking about?
support in order for you to do your job properly.
Well, the transfer window came and gone.
There's no free agents.
It's free agents. Send me the list and I'll send it to management. No, I'm being serious. I'll send it to management and then we'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks. Honestly now. I'm being serious. You send me the free agent list, I'll give it to management and then we can see what transpires. And then we'll talk in 2 weeks. Anything?
Super Sport coach, what is that one positive thing that you can use against Super Sport?
The one positive thing. I would probably say the speed of our wingers. You know, we know they're a very direct team. They're going to come at us, you know, very physical. It's always been a trademark of the coach. You know, their team sort of emulate the character of the coach. You know, he's been a coach for over 25 years, so he knows exactly how to get results. Sometimes even not being on the pitch, sometimes in the stands, like he was yesterday. But at the end of the day, I would say it's a well-oiled machine where they've been together, they've experienced, they've got good character. We've got to obviously find our heart now to turn this situation around in a very short space of time, because there's not much time obviously to ponder on this result, because games are coming thick and fast, and that's the next one on Wednesday.
Sorry to go back to this, but how frustrating is this for you? Because in my opinion, you clearly showed potential as a head coach. You gained promotion on numerous occasions, but it's almost as if your hands are tied behind the back. For me, I don't really understand it. So, do you when you think to yourself, can you understand this position that you seem to be in constantly, where you show potential, you do the initial good work, you gain promotion, but you still find yourself in we don't seem to be getting and I'm not blaming the club or any club, but you don't seem to be getting proper support or a situation where you can actually flourish as a head coach.
You're answering the question and you're answering yourself. You're asking the question and you answered yourself, because you're asking me what's the situation but not support, and then you answer with right. You've got the answers. You started the conversation by saying my hands are tied, but end of the day, we've got to use what we have at our disposal at this moment in time. That's the basic understanding, and I think explanation, I would say. There's nothing else. Yes.
Coach, the club issued a statement a few weeks back to say they're behind you, they support you. When I hear you talk now, it seems like there are lots of other stuff that are happening behind closed doors. How positive are you that you have the support that you needed, if I'm basing it on the statement that was issued?
Well, the best way to answer that is to, in the next 48 hours, to see what happens, and what conversation will be had. And what's decided. Like I say, I don't really disclose too much as to confidential stuff. We all know what the situation is. We've always been a club that promote young players and not go too much into the market. But sometimes a level up is maybe too much for certain players. So those are things that we have to assess and see where we can make changes.
That's one.
Coach, when's the last time you spoke to management, in terms of the team as well? Any conversation with the management? When's the last time you spoke to them?
I would probably say when the statement was released about the support, that was a couple of weeks ago. Now and then, obviously, the CEO would ask me about certain players and how close are they to the squad or 11 or who's coming back from injury, but nothing really much in detail as to how we're going to turn the situation around.
Thanks.
Okay. It's not bad.
Hopefully going back if you are to get dismissed, do you think a new coach will change the situation around?
Highly unlikely, but only the results will speak. Like I said, this is a position where obviously results is a major factor and contribution to you staying in the job, and when it's not coming, then obviously the club at some point will have to make that decision. That's the unfortunate nature of this business.